The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning to you. It's a Friday morning. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO FM in Jessup, 105.5. On your FM dial at Friday morning, 27th day of March. Butch Hubbard here with you, along with Bob Morgan, world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup, right down from the Big Red Caboose, and by Nips Car Wash, located on Highway 301 South, just past McDonald's, all on the left. Well, Bob, we're going to have a couple of guests here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, and let's go ahead with our first guest. Who do we have?
Well, we continue to bring in the candidates running for sheriff. We got Chuck Moseley, another candidate running on the Republican ticket, tried to race, but Chuck's one of the four on the ballot. So, Chuck, appreciate you being here and talking about your campaign.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity. First, most important.
Gotta do this first.
Happy birthday to my mama. I won't tell her age because I may want a cup of coffee later, but God bless you, Mama. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So how's the campaign going? Like I said, try to race, and as Butch joked around, no more shaking hands, no more kissing babies, things like that. So it's kind of different. I talked to Paul the other day. The door-to-door campaign's kind of stopped with this virus going on, but how are you getting out and getting your message to the people?
Well, I've got some phone numbers that folks have gave me, and I'm trying to call people and talk to them on the phone. And like you say before, trying to go door to door, and of course I worked right up until qualifying, so I was a little behind on that. I'd been out some, but I'd started making the rounds, and with the virus, I've quit, because not so much for myself, because I'm healthy as a bull, but I wouldn't have anybody sick because of me carrying it from one door to the next. So what I'm doing now is just trying to dial the phone, and I'll be doing some ads here on the radio station and at the newspaper, try to reach people. But the biggest thing I want is to ask everybody for their vote and support if they can find it in their heart. Of the candidates running, other than the sheriff, I'm the most qualified. And the other fellers are good fellers. I wouldn't say anything about them. They are good fellers. I know them both. All three, well, two of them I know. Mr. Johnson, I don't know him, but all I know of them, they're good folks. But I'm the most qualified.
You've been in law enforcement your whole life, so I know that. But a lot of people listen to it. There's people out there that don't know who Chuck Moseley is. So just explain who Chuck Moseley is, where you grew up, how long you've been in law enforcement, what your law enforcement resume is.
Born and raised in Wayne County. I was raised by a law enforcement man. From the time I was in school, my daddy was in law enforcement. I actually started at the prison in 84. In 89, I got a job with the Georgia State Patrol as a dispatcher and worked my way up through the ranks with the State Patrol all the way to post commander in Waycross, which Waycross is a post that works 6 counties. And I was the post commander whenever I retired. Whenever I retired, the newly elected sheriff of Pierce County seen fit to offer me a job as captain over his patrol. And I worked there for right at 7 years whenever I took a leave of absence to run for sheriff. All of that experience has helped me, and I've been a supervisor over law enforcement officer since 99. I think that's important. The other guys, I don't think any of them can say that. And that's something that a man needs. And he needs to be a leader, and not to toot my own horn, but the years that I was in Waycross, I think the stats there showed that the men, like men, would work for me, and I think that'll go a long way as being sheriff too. Not only that, I'm approachable. I want folks to know that, and I'll give my phone number and my website, all that here today. I want people to know that they can call me and I'll answer the phone. And if I don't get their call, I'll call them back.
And you just joined us, Chuck Moseley. I'm sorry, you got more?
No.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. Anyway, you tuned in. Chuck Moseley's with us, running for sheriff. Paul Drawder's here yesterday. He had outlined like 6 things. A platform. Do you have a platform? There's a special reason why you're running there.
Yes, sir. They're and some of them are similar. My 5 goals as sheriff would be to improve the drug crime enforcement and education, the budget concerns, oversight and supervision, school safety, and the relationship with surrounding counties. All those things are important. The drug crime issue, and I listened yesterday. I listened to see what my opponent was saying, and it's important to reestablish the ACE unit. It was starting to take off.
What's that?
The crime unit that Wayne County
had together. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Task
Dismantled, right?
Yeah, I call it the ACE unit.
Okay.
And because, as y'all discussed yesterday, the drug problem doesn't end at the city limits or the county line, and it is important to have a relationship with surrounding counties and the local agencies, so everybody, if there's information, it can be shared. And I think there's a problem with some of that not happening now because of the strife between the city and the county. And I heard y'all mention it yesterday, and I won't get in the weeds with that. There's everybody's heard the rumors, and sometimes a change in leadership can change that. I respect John for what he's done. The 16 years he's been there, he done some mighty fine things for the sheriff's office, and I thank the world of John. But I think it's time for a change in leadership, and sometimes that can make a drastic difference in how things are going. With the drug education, there's a class that the Sheriff's Association has where you can send a deputy, and it's 80 hours of training. It's called the CHAMPS program, Choosing Healthy Activities and Methods Promoting Safety. And what it is this deputy would learn the curriculum to teach 5th graders in the schools. Long and short, there was a fund years ago created called the DATE Fund that was actually absorbed into the drug court. They use it to help with the administration of it, and you'd have to approach chief judge to get approval to get the monies to do this. But I know in Pierce County it happened where the chief judge approved for the funds to do this. And I know Wayne County stretched for funds, but I think that's a way to actually pay for that program. And then maybe we can teach the kids before they have the opportunity to get into drugs, have them make the healthy choices where they wouldn't. The next concern is the budget, and I tell you, I got open records request. I got everybody's pay for 2018 and sworn officers now for 2018 2019. I got how much they make an hour. I got all of them's officers' activity report. That's another thing I'm blessed with. Working in Pierce County, we have the same reporting system as Wayne County does. So a lot of that system, I knew where to look and what to look for. Now, the open records I got, some of the information wasn't included because the Wayne County Sheriff's Office actually records their stuff in a different way and doesn't utilize that system as well as it could be. So there's things that I didn't get, like how many civil papers were served, but I did get, how many arrests were made, how many incident reports were done by each officer, so you could gauge. I mean, you can look at the officer's activity and tell who's doing what. Looking at all that, I can tell you that there's no doubt that they were short-handed, and the overtime was pretty high. But with overtime, sometimes that'll happen. I mean, it's just something in law enforcement. If you have a man absent, you've got to have somebody in his stead, especially on a shift. Maybe not the command staff, but that you'll have there with all the stuff that I got though, figuring their overtime pay and the amount of overtime they earned, I figured how many hours some of these men work, and there are some that it does appear, especially some that are on up in the pay scale, that worked overtime hours a lot more than the guys that are the road deputies. I think that could be looked at and use the lesser paid man to fill positions rather than a higher paid officer. Another way that I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Paul brought up the budget in his talk yesterday and talked about the overtime paid. I was curious, he gave out a lot of numbers, but I was curious, did the numbers reflect at a time like maybe there was that hurricane that came through, they worked, I just didn't know how that, I was just wondering if it reflected what months was the overtime consistent all the way throughout the entire year, or was it spiked at certain times? I was just curious about that.
I don't have it broke down by months. I've done it by year. Right. But I can tell you there was 12,080 hours of overtime in 2019, 11,118 in 2018. 2019 was 12,080.
How's that compared? Like you said you worked at Pierce County. Is that comparable to Pierce County, or that's close by?
Well,
is it in the same ballpark, or is it
total overtime in Pierce County is about 260? But there's a drastic difference in the number of employees. The jails are real similar in employees numbers, but and now sworn officers, Wayne County has, I think, 35. There's 36 on the present list. And, of course, that changed some through the year. But Pierce County only has 20 sworn officers. So, but that $260,000 was for the complete agency in Pierce County, where Wayne County has $481,000 in overtime last year for 911, the jail, and the sheriff's office. 911, no doubt, was short-handed this year. They spent about $12,000 more in overtime than they did the previous year, and like I say, that's the spot you've got to have somebody. You can't have a vacancy. One way that I want to approach the overtime, and this is something that happened in Pierce County, and I'll have to get with the county commissioners, but I don't think that they'll have a problem with it because it's a money-saving issue. I want to allow the deputies to sell their vacation time. They can build, according to policy, they can build up to 240 hours, and once they get to there, they lose it if they don't take it. So nobody's going to lose time, and I don't blame them. But if it were allowed, if they were able to sell vacation time on their anniversary date, so you wouldn't have a big group coming up at any one time of the year, if that was allowed, for every hour you sold, you're saving the overtime that it would take to have somebody work in their stead. And now, I think the county used to allow that, but they stopped it, and I think they stopped it for the whole county. And in a way, I can see that with the road department, because you're going to spend, you really won't pay anybody to work in their place. You'll pay them to be gone. But at the sheriff's office, the fact that somebody has to work in their stead, it'll be a money-saving instance.
And you just joined us, Chuck Moseley, in the studios with us, candidate for sheriff. You said you wanted to give out your number and Facebook page, things like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll let you do that this time.
My Facebook page, if you'll just type in Moseley for Sheriff, it'll pull it up. My email is moseleyforsheriff@gmail.com. My home number is 579-2747. And my cell number that I have with me all the time, if I'm not busy, I'll answer it, is 256-2855. 256-2855. And I want to do something else too. There's a young boy, well, a young man that actually assisted me with my campaign slogan, a new voice, a new vision, a new Wayne. His name is My mind just went. Hamp Murphy. Hamp Murphy, yes. Is that an age thing?
Yeah, it's an age thing. The more I get, the more it doesn't.
But he actually, whenever I announced I was running for sheriff, he sent me that, and I asked him if I could use it, and he allowed it. And I'm gonna tell you, I have found that young man is some kind of sharp. Let me just touch on my other three topics if I can, right quick. Oversight and supervision. That's more or less oversight and supervision, reviewing what the deputies do. I think there's been instances in the past where if somebody else may have looked closer at the reports, some things could have been caught and might have been changed. School safety, and of course the Board of Education. The Board of Education in Pierce County received federal monies to help put deputies in the schools that were out in the rural area of the counties. And Odom and Scriven, I think, needs that. And like I mentioned before, relationships with surrounding counties. All of the sheriffs and several of the police chiefs in counties that are adjacent to Wayne County, I have a personal relationship with. I have their phone numbers, their cell numbers, and I think that's important too, especially for the sheriff's office to run in the manner in which it ought to run.
Right now it's set for May 19th, but with all this going on, they say it could be pushed back, but hopefully it'll be May 19th, a four-person race, so it'd be hard for somebody to win without the runoff, so possibly a runoff with that four-candidate race, so... Is that what you're trying to do? Just jockey to get in that top two? And
yes,
go from
Lord.
There,
Yes.
Strategy? Or?
Yes, and I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard to unseat an incumbent. And like I say, in the years past, John's done a wonderful job. There's a lot of people that'll vote for the incumbent. But I felt like it was the time.
Well, there's all kinds of signs out there. I can't help but see your sign every time I come out of my because my next door neighbor is a big supporter because you got one of the biggest Chuck Moseley signs I've seen.
That picture make rats run out in front of you.
I'm just telling you. I'm just surprised how well it's stood up, with the weather and everything. But that's a pretty good sign there, right there on Cherry Street.
Them big ones don't. The wind will get them. I've put up them. I tell you, I've had to go back and fix them, and some of them tore up. I need to replace now. But and I want to thank y'all for allowing me to come on and speak.
We just appreciate you coming here. Like I said, we'll get you on again between now and the election. Like I said, so far we've been able to get 3. We got Toby Cameron coming next Friday. Like I said, Kevin Johnson, like I said, he's not running until November, so we got plenty of time to get him. But so far we've had you and Paul and John, and like I said, Toby's coming in next Friday, so that's all 4 on the Republican ballot. And like I said, we appreciate y'all coming in. Like I said, we want to get the message out, let people hear from the candidates, see what they got to say. I said you've been in law enforcement your entire life. You and John are friends, but you just think it's time.
Well, and like I say, the main reason I've ran, some of the things that happened, and I got it from some folks that he was going to lay it down, and I felt like I needed to announce when I did what everybody else announcing. Once I made the decision, I'm kind of hard-headed. I can't back up.
No, get out.
That's right.
Well, again, we appreciate you coming in. Like I said, known you for a long time. Like I said, you've been in law enforcement your whole life. And I know the Mosleys, like I said, I've worked with a lot of Mosleys during the years in law enforcement. Got along with all of them, Bill, Lawrence, the whole gang, so Bob. So there's a pile of you.
Yeah, Lawrence will kiss you. I ain't going to do that.
Lawrence is a good friend. Like I said, Bill was good. Like I said, I liked Bill Moseley back in the days. He was one of the, he was a funny,
I miss him every day.
I mean, he was a good detective. He worked on a lot of cases, so worked closely with him during that Jones's murder investigation. So I said I've go way back with the Moseley, so I've known them all, but known you a long time. Appreciate you coming in and wish you the best of luck.
And everybody, any consideration, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you'll go to that website, you can see all the training I've had, and God's blessed me, and I ask y'all to too.
Okay. Appreciate it, Chuck.
WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio, world famous Butch and Bob Show for this Friday morning, 18 minutes after 8 o'clock. We've got another guest in the studio ready to come on. County Commission Chairman Herschell Hires will be our special guest in just a couple of moments.
Hi, good morning. Happy weekend. Mostly sunny, southwest breeze, high of 90. Partly cloudy, low 60s for tonight. Mostly sunny, upper 80s tomorrow, mid 60s tomorrow night. Sunday, partly sunny, highs, upper 80s. Monday, partly sunny, highs, low 80s. Then Tuesday, mostly cloudy, a 40% chance of showers, slight chance of thunderstorms, highs, low 80s. Georgia meteorologist John Weatherby in the GNN Weather Center.
The first Doctor's Day observance was March 30th, 1933 in Winder, Georgia. The idea came from Eudora Brown Almond, wife of Dr. Charles Almond. March 30 was the anniversary of the first use of general anesthetic in surgery, which was used in a procedure by Dr. Crawford Long of Jefferson, Georgia. Georgia's Barrow County Medical Society Auxiliary proclaimed the day Doctor's Day. This special day was celebrated by mailing cards to physicians and their spouses, and also by placing flowers on the graves of doctors who had passed on, including Dr. Long. President George H.W. Bush signed a resolution recognizing the first National Doctors' Day, March 30th, 1991. This is Jill Blizzard of Wayne Memorial Hospital. In honor of their lifetime commitment to patient care, we salute all physicians on this special day. Wayne Memorial Hospital, caring for the community.
20 minutes after 8 o'clock, you're listening to WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessa, Big Dog Country Radio, world famous Butch and Bob Show. And Bob, who is our next guest?
We got Chairman Herschell Hires in the studios with us, County Commission Chairman. Appreciate you coming in because I need you to clarify some things. You know, that both the city and the county gave declarations. The city was real specific on what businesses were to shut down. The county really didn't do that. They talked about recreational facilities, lake race, and all that. But does the county have the same implications that the city does as far as hair salons and beauty parlors and things like that? It didn't really specify in the county declaration.
Yes, we do. The city and the county are on the same page. We're in one accord as far as the businesses that we ask to practice the social distancing and regulating the number of people in the business. We are definitely in daily contact many times a day, and we're trying to mirror each other's declarations as well as mirror the governor's declaration. He's gracious enough to allow us to do that locally, and we tried to make our declaration fit the needs of the county.
Well, first of all, what needs to be stressed to all Wayne Counties is that neither a city commissioner nor a county commissioner ever thought they'd, first of all, be in this situation, and no one wanted to implement these. This is something that's been forced and been recommended by the governor and the state, and when you watch and see what's going on in the state of Georgia, I mean, this is just necessary steps that need to be taken, hopefully stop the spread of this virus.
Very much so, Bob, and you're right. I know when I signed on for this, never in my wildest dreams would I imagine that I would be involved in a meeting and numerous days of discussion and reaching out to decide to limit people's movement in this county or even try to encourage people to stay at home. It's just, it's mind-boggling. But I'll tell you this, if never before, now the city and the county, as well as the cities of Odom and Scriven, are all working together. We are doing our best to get to the end of this thing and, again, mirror each other's desires, wants, and needs to let the community know we're here for them. We are reaching out to all the resources we can get to and getting cooperation throughout the state to get us through this COVID-19 virus. And we'll make it. We'll come through as a community. We're pulling together, and we'll continue to do so.
I told my friends, I can watch it only for a period of time, like 10, 15 minutes at a time. I can't watch it 24/7 like a lot of people are. But the one thing that came clear to me is that social distancing is helping stop the virus. And that's what the county and the governor and the city are trying to implement and stress to people in Wayne County. Don't be in large groups of 10 or more. Have the social. That's why the restaurants are having takeout and curbside pickup. You can't go inside the restaurants anymore because the social distancing apparently is having an effect to try to stop the spread of this virus, and that's what they're trying to do. Right now, they don't have a vaccine, they don't have a cure. The only way to do it is to stay away from, and it's hard, especially inside Georgia. We're
we're a people, you know,
like
and it's
hug and
it's
shake hands.
It's killing a lot of us that normally are so outgoing and so willing to shake your hand or hug your neck and see how you're doing. It's tough. It's tough to get accustomed to, but it is working. And there's no doubt that what we're going through right now is going to change our lifestyle from here on out. It's going to change how we interact with people. But Bob, I spoke with Joe Roddy this morning, the CEO of Wayne Memorial Hospital. And, you know, his input was the same. With the social distancing, the physical separation is really working. It's working not only here, it's working in the larger cities. For example, Chatham County, residents of 300,000 people, they have 9 positive cases. And with that number of people and that few cases, praise the Lord, thank God they've got that few. This morning I went on the website and checked, and out of 159 counties, Wayne County is one of 62 that doesn't have a case. And I think that getting ahead of the curve and stressing the physical distance is helping. And I do believe that term flattening the curve is really working, and it's giving our healthcare people a chance to get ahead and get caught up and keep from our hospitals and healthcare facilities from getting overwhelmed with the virus.
Right now, it's a 2-week implementation by both the city and the county. Will they get together and reassess as that time gets closer?
Yes. And Bob, not only then will we reassess, we are in constant contact. The mayor and I are in constant contact daily, several times a day, as well as with the Stacy Brooker, the head nurse at the Department of Health. We're consumed by this right now. This is taking precedence over everything we have to do to operate the county and the city. We're steadily assessing, and if something were to change today, you know, we're willing to sit down and meet quickly to implement anything else we need to do. And I hate to go to any more drastic measures, but should the healthcare crisis require it, we're willing to step forward and do what we need to do to help keep flattening that curve.
Yeah, I talked to people. If you watched the meetings on the website, it just looked like a painful decision. The mayor stressed in the interview I had with him. He said nobody wanted to do this. This is something that just has to be done at this time. But is anybody not doing what they've been asked to do? Have you seen, or most? I mean, is everybody on the same page? You haven't seen any businesses not following the order, have you?
I've not received any word of any business out in the county that's not complying. Some of the businesses I reached out to before we implemented the declaration of emergency and just gave them the advice to go ahead and be looking forward at a way to cause that distance, that physical distancing to go ahead and be implemented before we had to do it at a government level. And yes, you're right. This is probably one of the most stressful and discouraging decisions to have to make to implement this declaration of emergency, but it had to be done. I really think it's working. I reached out to some of the surrounding counties chairmen. You know, we're in constant contact as well to see if they have any needs that we can help meet, or just get their advice on how they're implementing things in their county. And it's really encouraging that we have maintained 0 cases. And Bob, I tell you, if you don't mind, I want to take a minute to thank these people that are on the front line, our healthcare workers, our first responders, our EMTs, firemen and policemen. They're doing a phenomenal job under extreme stress. You can't imagine what it's like to not know every time you walk into a patient or you pull up to a house that has someone that's sick, you know, is it here? I mean, am I gonna contract this and take it home? For them to work under these conditions, they've got my I can't stress how encouraged I am and how proud I am of the way that all of them are operating under these circumstances.
The scary thing is they're saying it's a matter of if, not when.
Yeah.
When. I mean, they know it's coming because more and more tests are being done. So, but I said the key is to try to keep it as minimal as we possibly can. Like I said, I'm like you. The positive signs I see is they say Chatham County is such a huge county, just 9. Glenn County's a lot bigger than us. They have like 5 or, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, everybody's following these instructions by the governor and by the local government. So, as I said, it seems to be working. So hopefully it'll continue to work, and we can get ahead of this before.
I think so. And even like looking at Chatham County's population, if you just take Wayne County and the surrounding counties and put that population together, we probably have a total in that circle of maybe 4 or 5 cases at this time. That's still a lot of population. And, I hope that the rural areas maintain this until that curve really gets flattened and the exposure is way less. I've got to commend the hospital. I mean, there's talking to Joe and seeing the protocol that they have in place and the way they're handling the situation. If we get a positive case, it's so encouraging. We're really working together, and again, we're going to get through this.
And that's the key. Like I said in my newscast, the message is clear. We're all in this together.
Yes.
So together we have to fight this virus, and right now the only way to do it is to follow the instructions. Wash your hands as many times as possible. Keep the social distancing. Avoid large gatherings, and keep on, and like I also stressed, as you mentioned, please support these local businesses. They do have curbside pickup. They have the drive-through windows. They've supported everything for years.
Yeah.
And, we need to keep these businesses
most definitely
alive and
they're,
well. So
they're under extreme amount of stress too. Helping by providing the needs of the community, because we all still have to eat. We all still need those daily things that we've taken for granted for all these years. We need for these smaller businesses, as well as the larger ones like Walmart and Harvey's and those. We need what they have, and we need for everybody to cooperate. If they implement a policy where you can only have so many people at the store at the time, don't get aggravated with those people. Don't be irate with them. Work with them. Adhere to those policies, because those policies are only there to protect all of us.
Let's talk a little bit about Lake Grace, because that seems to be a sticking point with a lot of people.
Yeah.
The implemented, I'll read Section 4, says all indoor and outdoor recreation, fitness, and entertainment facilities, including any and all county parks and recreational facilities owned and operated by Wayne County, are closed immediately and shall remain closed until such time as the state of emergency has been lifted or amended. During this state of emergency, Lake Lindsey Grace will be closed to any person that is not a resident of Wayne County. It will only be open to Wayne County residents from the hours of 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. For the duration of this state of emergency, fishing shall be the only permissible use of Lake Lindsey Grace. Further, the use of any jet ski or pleasure craft will be strictly prohibited. Again, that's been implemented. How's that going? What I've heard, there's been some issues at Lake Grace, and some people are upset at what's taking place. So you have a better feel for it. You know what's going on a daily basis. Give us the update on Lake Grace.
One of the reasons we implemented both the curfew and the restrictions at Lake Grace was after the beaches closed, and all of the high school students and college students coming back, being on closed schools, we realized we had an influx of people just taking over Lake Grace, so to speak, way more than we would normally have on any other summer. And it got to where it didn't seem like people were practicing the social distancing out there. We were getting constant complaints. The sheriff's department was almost overwhelmed a time or two with just the influx of people. So I a lot of that's on me. I'll be honest with you. I pushed Moseley to get the other commissioners to agree that we needed to limit Lake Grace. First of all, we needed to limit it to Wayne County residents only, because with all we're going through, we need outlets. We need places to go to relax and get what's going on. Get Fox off your mind. Get CNN off your mind, and just practice real life. And so we decided to limit it to Wayne County residents. That alone probably cut half of the crowd out on a typical Saturday or Sunday. And leaving it as a fishing only is because that's a food source. And there are a lot of people in Wayne County that actually fish at Lake Grace, and that's where they get their supper. The jet skiing, the pleasure boating, that can take place at the river and be further spread out than Lake Grace. And I hope people work with us on that and understand why we did it. We still have that outlet for people to go to. We still have the place where Matt can take Maddox fishing if he chooses to, and still do the social distancing, but get that outlet we need to get away from everything that's going on in the world. And if I can slide this in, I want to congratulate Butch, Mandy, and Matt on the new addition, Maverick and the family. It's nice to see all those blonde hairs running around at the soccer field up and down. It's amazing.
They've got their own NBA basketball team. So
yeah, five boys now.
Ready to go. Anything else in this? Like I said, I want to stress again, this declaration is on the county website. If anybody wants to read the entire document, there's 17 sections in the document that pretty much outlined everything. I think the attorney, Andy Beaver, helped you all write this up and put it in place.
Our county attorney, Andy Beaver, and I worked on this thing for about 5 days constantly. We reached out and got the input from all the other commissioners. We reached out and got input from all the constitutional officers. Those people that have to, by law and by constitution, continue with the operations of their respective offices. Sheriff, the clerk of court, tax commissioner, and probate judge. They have certain obligations they have to meet by law, and we have to, as a commission, ensure that we do everything we can to make sure that those offices either stay open or the operation of the county continues. So, if you don't mind, I'd like to share there's two websites that I'd like for people to know about, and one of them, the most important, is the State Department of Public Health's website. That's the website you can go to keep an update on the status of the COVID-19 in the state of Georgia. It's a wealth of information on how the state is tracking where the cases are positive, what counties they're in. And that website is dph.georgia.gov. That will be my first click on the keyboard should I want to go find out about cases. The other is the Wayne County website. We enhanced this website about 8 or 10 days ago to give the people of the county a way to make a click on their keyboard and go to any other link that we felt like would serve them in the way of information. Many of the links go directly to some of our county offices' websites to let them know what's open, how to pay your taxes, for example, how to pay a fine, how to pay child support, things like that. So that website is www.waynecountyga.us. That is the Wayne County Commissioner's website, and again, it's been enhanced so that you can go there and then find any other link that would help them in the operation of the county and things that still need to take place.
One part of this section I want to read to let people know, like I said, as you mentioned, we've been blessed so far, no positive tests, but they state it's coming. So Section 5 states any person showing symptoms recognized by the CDC as indicators of the COVID-19 shall refrain from entering public buildings, restaurants, shops, public transportation facilities, and all other areas where the public ingresses or egresses. Such persons should seek medical attention and follow direction of their primary care physician until given a clearance to return to public interaction. That's another thing I've heard constantly, that if you do start having symptoms, don't rush to the hospital.
Right.
Call your
physician,
primary care physician.
Yes.
And then pretty much quarantine. They'll tell you to quarantine yourself for the next 14 days. But again,
that's the advice we're getting from our healthcare professionals is that, if you feel bad, if you think you're getting any of these symptoms, please do not get in the car and run down to the doctor's office and take a chance on spreading that in the waiting room or spreading that with some of the workers in that healthcare facility. It's call and say, this is how I feel, this is what I got going on, and every one of our healthcare providers are well versed on a criteria sheet that they will go through with you and see if you have the qualifying markers that may lead you into being positive on COVID-19. Then they will instruct you on how to come to the office if you need to be tested, and they'll test at times. They'll test in your car. They'll come out donned in the PPE that they would need to do the swab, and then you'll be asked to go home and self-quarantine. then the CDC or the DPH will be in constant contact with you, monitoring your symptoms, and lead us to say, if it gets to the point that you feel or they feel that you're getting worse, then there's a protocol to bring you in and isolate you and give you the medical treatment you need. But the main thing is don't get out. Don't possibly spread the particles or the infectious parts of the COVID-19. It's stay at home, reach out to your healthcare professionals and listen to them. And please, we can't stress enough not to listen to what you hear and see on social media. There, a perfect example of this is my phone has melted down from people calling about the curfew.
Oh yeah, we gotten it here. We don't have one.
We do not have a curfew in Wayne County. We have only restricted Lake Grace to use only during the day. That's the closest thing we got to a curfew is the use of Lake Grace at night is strictly prohibited, or the presence at Lake Grace. What happened, we understand, was someone, before they did their research, which seems to be pretty common on social media, saw that Wayne County had a 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. curfew, and before it could get stopped from sharing or being spread, it just went like wildfire. People were beginning to stay in, which is fine. I almost left it alone and didn't correct anybody. But the truth is that it was like Wayne County, Mississippi.
Yeah, it was Wayne County, Mississippi.
And that's what we check your facts and be cautious. It's best for people to go to these links that the state's provided and the counties have provided, cities as well. Check your facts there before you spread something that's untrue.
Bad news on social media and inaccurate news on social media will spread faster than any virus.
Yes.
And somebody just texted in, can you repeat those two websites again, the state website and the county website?
I'll be glad to. The county website is www.waynecountyga.us. The State Department of Public Health website is dph.georgia.gov.
And they update twice a day at 12 noon and 7 p.m. They have the latest statistics of what's taking place in the state of Georgia. Another thing I want to emphasize, something that we're blessed as well, the services are continuing. And one service that definitely continues, the Wayne County Transit remains open in operation throughout Wayne County this time. The citizens are encouraged to use the transit only when necessary to travel to and from work, shopping for essential items such as grocery stores or pharmacies for any non-emergency medical needs. But the county reserves the right for the health, safety, and best interest of all citizens, and consistent with the governor's executive order to encourage more extensive sanitation efforts to refuse services based on patrons' medical symptoms as determined by the Wayne County Transit Service provider. But the service is still running.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, the service is still running.
And they're still picking up garbage, and all the services are still functioning both in the city of Jessup and Wayne County at this time.
That's correct. Some of those services have been limited, but we are still meeting the needs of the citizens with all of those services.
Like I said, hopefully we can get ahead of this curve. Like I said, all these implementations are in place for a reason. Again, they're asking everybody please adhere to it, and I think most Wayne Countyans are, which we're fortunate to have a community that comes together at time of need, and this is a time of need to just continue to do what you've been asked to do the social distancing and be smart and try to stay safe, and also look out for the elderly. That's something I
can't stress enough.
I see a lot of that going on in Wayne County. I appreciate it, but a lot of people are taking care of their neighbors and checking on the elderly to see if they need help. So that's also a great. I tell my sister all the time, we're blessed to be in this small side of Georgia.
We are, and the situation we're in now proves that this county, no matter how stretched and far apart we may get, when there's a time of need, this community will come together and rally together and help pull each other through. And to that point, I want to thank our churches and our local faith-based groups for doing just what you said. They're doing a phenomenal job in reaching out to not only members but members, neighbors, and non-members. They're just, I don't know how we would make it through something like this if it wasn't for our ministers and our deacons and our members of our churches reaching out and taking care of folks that may not have anybody. You got to you got a neighbor whose children live in Atlanta, and he or she is on their own. They may even depend on Wayne County Transit to get back to where they're going. The way the churches are reaching out and helping those folks is phenomenal. And I want to stress too that if anyone knows of anyone out there and they can't help them themselves, by all means, reach out to us, reach out to your local church, reach out to the county, to the city. We will get help to people that are in need. We're not going to let anybody go hungry. We're not going to let anybody go with their needs not being met on getting to a doctor or getting their prescriptions filled. We have people out there that are ready and willing to step in and help folks like that, and that's what's going to get us through is this community pulling together like that. The way the school system is feeding the kids that are out of school and reaching out to them is just it's unreal. I was floored at the number of meals that Dr. Brinson and Chairman Ellis were telling me that they're still providing, and the way the cities of Odom and Scriven employees, the bus drivers, the clerical work, the way they're pulling together and bagging lunches, making sure that our community stays fed and stays healthy. It's great the way this community is pulling together.
Yeah, and Jessup Church of God is giving away bags of dry groceries tomorrow morning at their church, Jessup Church of God at 444 Sunset Boulevard between 8 and 11 tomorrow morning. Pick up, drive-through only.
Okay. Bob, I'd be glad also to provide my email address. It's also on the county website. My cell number. If we don't want anybody to go needing something that some need we're not fulfilling, and we'll do everything we can, and we'll make sure that we got the resources or can get the resources to help folks in this county get through this. But we can't stress enough, if you don't need to get out, and that need to me being going to the doctor, going to get food or supplies, or going to work, if you don't need that, stay in. Of course, another exception is reaching out to somebody that needs help. But other than that, stay in and keep yourself safe, keep your at-risk family members safe, and keep our frontline people safe.
Okay. Herschell, I appreciate you coming in. Like I
appreciate the time.
We'll keep everybody up to date, and like I said, hopefully everybody heeds the warning and continues to do what's being asked them to do.
I think they will, Bob. I really do. And I want to thank the community for doing just that.
All right, Chairman of the County Commission, Herschell Hires, our special guest here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup. World-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Nips Car Wash, located on Highway 301 South, just past McDonald's on the left, and by Murphy Builder Supply, where the builders buy, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup, right down from the Big Red Caboose. We got state news coming your way soon, and some of Governor Kemp's comments from last night.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.